to week 1 of the Galatians study group. It is so good to have you all here. I want to begin by introducing our group tonight.
I'm Michael Free. I really like discussion, especially about the Bible, but about almost anything, really deep discussion about topics. And it sounded interesting.
Hi, my name is Melissa Cumby, and I manage a behavioral therapy clinic, and I love my job, and I'm participating in this study because frankly I'm in a little bit of a valley, and I'm just trying to get back into the Word, and I really like digging deep into things.
Hi, I am Amy Cumby, and I think that God is constantly challenging me to go deeper and not be so superficial with my faith. I have a daughter and a husband, and I love them both very much.
I'm Hope Ackerman. I love all things to do with worship and fundraising, and I love my husband and my son. And we are in Portland, Oregon, and love it here. And decided to do this class because honestly, for me, it came out of a conversation with my mentor, who was like, you need time in cohorts with other Bible studiers and Bible teachers to challenge each other. So this felt like an answer to prayer, but also kind of like Amy said, the intentionality of having to carve out time to study is important, and this makes me have to do it. So I love that.
That's very cool.
I'm Joseph. I am a middle-class engineer. I'm a human sapien.
A goofball.
Thank you for not saying Homo sapien sapien.
Oh, did I say human sapien sapien?
Yeah, you did. That was. I feel like you're avoiding one of the key controversies of the age, right?
He was just getting his status out of the way.
I have a beautiful wife, as you can see, and I have a 16-month-old son. His name is Judah. I am very excited to be doing this class.
All of us are reading Galatians once a week if we're actually doing what we're assigned to do. And so if anyone has any thoughts on what you noticed or got out of Galatians this past week when you read it.
It was a different lens to read it through after reading N.T. Wright's intro. And I also just read his book on Paul, which talks a lot about this. So it was a different lens. I feel like, to me, it still looks like a book about justification by faith, which N.T. Wright is, of course, like, that's not what it is, but then doesn't necessarily say that it's not what it is. So.
I have to admit that this issue where N.T. Wright is against the traditional take on Galatians, I'm sure we'll be talking about that every week, but I'm still wrestling with, then if it's not that, then what is it? And how do we reread it? But
it's a really focused response or answer to a specific situation and topic. And while it talks about a lot of applicable things, it's really a focused answer to a specific issue.
And what is the issue from your perspective?
People preaching the false gospel and trying to get people to do things that isn't in line with what Jesus wanted them to do.
That's pretty well done. I have to say that's a pretty brilliant synopsis.
It was something that's so close to what the gospel is. It's just like an add-on, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because circumcision is an add-on, and yet it was part of the previous thing. So it's an add-on of something that was supposed to be taken off that, according to Wright, redefines the entire new way to be human and the new thing happening in the planet. And so I could see why it was confusing for the early folks.
There's division between groups of people. So there's these non-Jewish believers in Christ, and then there's Jewish believers in Christ, and they're still trying to draw a hard line between the two groups because they've always been divided. And I think Paul's really saying, you're not Jews and Gentiles anymore. You're God's people, you're Christ's followers, and you're one sect now. There's a lot of things that the Jewish people did to separate themselves from the Gentiles. But that just happens to be the one that's, in the forefront right now. No pun intended.
What it really made me think of was like the prodigal son almost. Like the Jews being the good son who always stayed, always dutiful, always held to task, always at the ready, always there to do their father's bidding. I mean, not that the Jews were always perfect in all of the stuff before Christ, but that they were the son that was there doing the stuff the whole time. And then it's like the Galatians are the prodigal. That's my interpretation. And then N.T. Wright says in the commentary, if I can find the page that was on, he talks about how it wasn't only like they're not getting circumcised. That's wrong. There was such immense pressure to stay protected under Roman law and to not upset the apple cart and to follow the rules of Judaism and to just kind of fly low, do your thing. And so the fact that I never thought about this wasn't just like an affront to the practice that they'd had from their whole lives and their forefathers' lives. It was also an affront to their safety on some levels, behaving differently like that. I do like how Paul says, I was the chief among the Jews who was doing this stuff to the nth degree where I was taking other Christians out. Like, I know how it feels to be you. So I like that it's not some Johnny come lately Galatian or like some brand new Gentile to the faith that's like, this isn't hard. You guys just need to get it to, like, Paul is like, I know what I'm talking about. I know what you have to practice. I know what you were raised with. I know you don't want to betray your family or feel like you're betraying your faith. I know it's hard to look at things in a different perspective through a grace-filled lens instead of these lists of rules. I know how hard it is because I am you, because I was you, because I did this and then some.